All right, so welcome to the first video in like 6 months. Uh, I should probably start uploading here more frequently because I have a lot of shit like I could talk about, and and like it's always fun to just talk about random shit. So yeah, my last video was on leftist misery, capitalism, science is God, and ethnocentrism. I do not remember what the fuck it was about. Besides, that that title. But I figured I would maybe shift a little more towards some personal stuff, just to give it a little more personality, I guess. I don't know. And I can obviously still relate this shit back to the stuff that I talk about. Let's get into it. I don't have a script. I never script these videos, but I know what I'm going to talk about at least. So uh, we'll just go from there. Um, So basically, back around when I first started this channel, let's see, what was the first video I posted? Yeah, June 12th, 2024. Back around 2024, late summer into early fall, uh, this girl and I started getting a little closer and closer. And the way we met was through mutual friends. So I had one friend, let's call him S, and he had a friend who I never really liked because I always thought he was kind of fucking weird, named J. We'll call him J. And he had this friend that he knew from school, and we'll call her Z. That's what we'll call her. We'll call her Z. And J and Z were always, kind of close, I guess. Like, over that summer, our whole friend group started basically hanging out more frequently. And J would bring Z a lot. And they were like all, like he would go pick her up and stuff. And I just figured they were close friends. I don't know. But you can kind of see where this is going already. But my ass was retarded, and again, this is 2024. This was like when I was peak incel, basically. And so her and I start getting closer, just over these hangouts, and over, just like silly shit. Like we would talk over Discord and stuff, is whatever. Well, eventually we get close enough to where, so we go to different schools, right? We go to different colleges. And hers is 2 hours away from mine. We both live there we both live there at our college, at our respective colleges. So she decides one day to drive 2 hours up to mine to see me. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Yeah, this girl obviously likes me a lot. So she does that, and then we spend basically the whole day together, and we become official. And then it's relationship stuff, and this is my first ever relationship, right? I'm 18. She had just turned 19. And then she keeps, well, it progresses obviously naturally, and we like see each other on the weekends. She'll come up there every so often to my school, and we'll just hang out all day, and and it progresses and it progresses and it progresses and it progresses, until about, I want to say like 4 or 5 months into the relationship, in February, she's like the J guy, this guy, finds out, and I had known that they had been hanging out, because they both went to the same school, same college. I had known that they'd be hanging out and stuff, and I didn't think anything of it. Well, this J guy finds out, oh shit, actually, me and Z are dating and we're like together, and stuff. And obviously, he kind of freaks out. Now you can, again, see where this is going. And I thought it was that, you know, oh, he basically thought that they were in a relationship. And yeah, like, they basically were in a relationship. And she never told him about her and me, which back then, I don't know why I didn't think, and hindsight is 2020, right? Back then, I don't know why I didn't think, that's weird. She has this male best friend who she's not telling this stuff to, who obviously likes her. She's not telling him this. So, and I'm like, damn, bro, like, just cut him off. He's freaking out. He's throwing a baby tantrum. And I didn't think anything of it. But then it keeps going, right? It just keeps fucking going. And he has these, like, flare-ups. And I'm talking to one of my friends about it, and he's like, yeah, dude, Jay's basically saying that Z manipulated him into thinking that they were in a relationship and is now manipulating you. And I was like, I don't know, man. Again, it's almost ridiculous how I wasn't skeptical at all about what was going on. Again, you can see where this is going. Well, eventually after like 2 months of this, right? It's February, it's April now. He has one of his autistic flare-ups again. And basically, I'm talking to my friend S about it, the original friend. And he's like, yeah, dude, well, you know, he and Z had been, like, having sex for, like, months, multiple times a week, before y'all started dating and stuff. And I was like, that's not fucking true, bro. And he's like, sorry, dude, I thought you knew. And the reason I say that's not fucking true is because this whole time, during any intimate encounter with Z, she would say things that would lead me to believe that she was completely inexperienced and she was a virgin and she didn't know what the fuck she was doing. She even, like, told me on multiple occasions, no, I've never done anything sexual before. That you are the only person I've done this stuff with. And then when we finally, you know, got down for the first time, afterwards she said, I didn't know my first time was going to be like this. So, those are, like, quote, straight from her fucking mouth. So, I'm like, the fuck? So, and obviously I'm, like, fucking distraught, right? You know, I'm like, that's not true. There's no way that's true, right? There's no way that's true. Maybe John said that stuff, but, like, there's no way, right? And then so I confront her about it. And again, like, you have to realize this is all taking place, like, not in person, you know? Because, again, we're, like, 2.5 hours away from each other. So, yeah. She basically said, yeah, it's true. I'm sorry. Blah, 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 blah. And then, like, whined a bunch. And I you know, being the gracious, you know, frankly naive chud that I was back then, I was like, you know what? It's like, I can't do anything about that now. I still love you. And so, like a retard, I said, okay, it's all right. We'll just, you know, I can't trust you the same way anymore, obviously. And I for some fucking reason, I did not realize, hold on, this is the biggest red flag waving around in my damn face that I've ever seen before. And my ass is just not gonna fucking not gonna end things right now. Because if she's not, because really, like, honestly, if she would have been straight up with me to begin with, and she would have just told me, hey, I'm not like a virgin or anything, and John and I, were kind of in a relationship before this, a sexual relationship, I would have been like, oh, okay, well, if we're gonna start dating, just cut him off and tell him that. And if she would have been like, okay, yeah, sounds good to me, then it would have been fine. I wouldn't have cared. But the problem therein lies with the fact that she hid it all from me. Um. Anyway, so we continued dating for a couple months, and after a while, I'm just like, you know what, I can't fucking do this shit anymore. I'm carrying around that thought in the back of my head, and she's also making shit up about him. She would say stuff to me about him, that would either make him look bad or make her look better. And then I would relay that stuff to S, who is again friends with Jay, and he would be like, "That's not true. What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, she said that." I'm like, "That's what she told me," and he says, "Dude, that's not. He would not do that. I know him. He would not do that. He tells me literally everything. I know this man very well, and he would not do that." And I'd be like, "Man," and then he said like recently, like, why can't you accept that your ex-girlfriend was just a pathological liar? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Anyway, I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah. So anyway, we keep dating for whatever, and then in August of last year, I'm like, you know what, I can't fucking do this shit. It's in the back of my mind all the time, and she's also got all these health problems, and she's fucking lazy. And like it's a chore to get her to do anything, and she kind of like uses me for stuff like money or stuff. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. And then so that's August, and then November, and then we're kind of on good terms. We're kind of like friends, I guess. And that's what we wanted to do. But after a while, like I just couldn't even look at her, and by November she was already with another dude. So. And I come to think of it, it's like she was probably still doing stuff with him, with Jay, like while we were official, because according to her words, again, he had no idea. And, they were still hanging out and stuff every day, basically. So who knows? It could have happened, and she just could have never told me. And I would have had no fucking clue. Yeah. And then, like in December or January or something, I went to get tacos with some people, and it turns out that Jay was showing videos that he had taken of them two together. And that's why that dude that I went to go get tacos with, that's why he started hating on Z so much for a while. Anyway. So yeah, that's my story about that. And I think the moral of the story is, first of all, look the fuck out. I guess that's one moral that you can pull from that, is look the fuck out. Be skeptical. Don't be paranoid, because it's really easy, and I've kind of found myself falling into this. It's really easy to become paranoid. When you're just looking out for yourself, or that's what you intend to do, but it ends up becoming full-blown paranoia. Now, second of all, don't ever date no bitch with an absentee and or abusive father, because that fucks the mind up like big time, especially with girls. And, and it causes them to become, like, fucked up in the head, basically. And don't ever date no hypersexual girl, either. Despite how much fun it may seem, at the beginning, like, don't. Like, that is a bad sign. If they are hypersexual, don't. Don't ever date no bitch with chronic health problems. Something that cannot be like reasonably treated. Um, you know what I mean? Like if she has, I don't know, if she's diabetic or something, like you know what I mean. Like if it's reasonable and it doesn't like affect their everyday type thing, um, and or it's not debilitating, like just don't bother with people that have mood disorders or chronic health disorders or anything, and that take prescription drugs, and like 3 antipsychotics and stuff. Again, looking back, look, I was a naive little chud. Okay, I had no idea about girls because I'd never been in a relationship before. I had stalkers in high school, but that was about it. That's about as far as it went. Um, but yeah, I'm not beating the fucking fake cell allegations, but I don't really care. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude. Like, look the fuck out for shit like that. Um, and if a girl is not willing to be honest with you about the small things, she's not gonna be honest with you about the big things. Uh, like just sometimes they're just not worth it. No matter how fucking hot they are. Okay. Yeah, yes, Z was extremely attractive. Um, those are always the fucking crazy ones though. uh, no, 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 no. No matter how attractive they are, no matter how much you like feel like you love them or whatever, if you can't like be skeptical and stuff, like you're cooked, man. You're screwed. Um, so just be alert, man. I don't know. I'm almost and here's okay. Here's actually I want to go into this actually. So within the past few months, I was kind of in a situationship, I guess you could say, with this one chick from my college. Well, they were like a they them, and I never thought that I would get like involved with somebody like that, but I did. Given my track record, you can scroll through my fucking channel to see all that shit. But anyway, um, yeah, I got involved with the they them, and I liked this girl, I really did. Um, but after a while, I started to see like, you know what, this is not probably not going to work out, and so we became official for like a week or something, and I was like, look, I can't in good faith like continue it because it's just not like we're not compatible on so many different things. Uh, an Aryan like me could not be with a Jewish. She was Jewish. They them. Okay, you know what I mean? Like I can't do that. But no, it's more than that, obviously. But the point in bringing this girl up is because literally like within I don't know, that month or so of uncertainty, like, are we together? Are we not? You know, within that first month, she had already disclosed, oh, yeah, I'm not a virgin. I've had 2 sexual partners in the past. And it was not a big thing. And it was like, why can't everybody just be this fucking transparent? You know? I don't like that you've been with 2 people before me, if this does end up working out. If it doesn't, then I don't care, but oh, I guess I care a little bit. But like the point, I mean, you're in college, like what the fuck, what do you expect? But yeah, it's the transparency thing. Like why couldn't Z be this transparent? Or not even her, but like why can't everybody just be fucking transparent? It's not a big deal. It's not going to really change the way I see you unless it's some fucking absurd shit. Like I killed a man and stuffed him in my back trunk and no one's ever found his remains. Or I've had sex with 23 people. you know? Like just be transparent and it works out for everybody. Anyway, so that's my personal story for today. This is definitely a shorter one. Yeah, so that's me saying goodbye. Goodbye. See ya.